Okay, something is doing something. I seem to also be getting uh, for some reason I seem to be getting audio coming through on my mic. I'm going to just see what this sounds like. Sorry folks, I'm having some audio troubles today. I don't know what's going on here. So, can everybody hear me speaking? And then, can everybody hear the background audio as well? There should be some music softly in the background that you should hear. And you should hopefully hear me speaking. If you can hear those things, give me a thumbs up or a hey or a hello or whatever. I don't know what's going on today. Everything was working last week. This whole streaming thing is not for me. So hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully you can hear me clearly. I see the captions seem to be working, so I guess that's doing what it should do. If you can't hear me, just leave me a message in the chat. Okay, so a quick update on the block theme. I have been working on this theme now for a few months. And I need to go off and do other things. But I also have kind of learned the things that I need to learn in a way. I've learned how to create custom block styles, which was something that I wanted to learn. I've learned how to implement the register block extension from the 10up block components. I've also understood recently that if I don't want to use the 10up register block, what was it called? Register block extension functionality, I can also use register block variation, which is in this example on the WordPress developer documentation about extending the query loop block. Which I would like to try and learn at some point. So what I'm thinking of, you see this sits in a plugin. So I don't quite know how this works in a theme. And there is a developer blog article coming out about how this works soon, which I'm looking forward to seeing. So this final live stream that I'm basically saying that I'm taking a break from live streams for a while. Probably for the month of September and probably for the month of October. And then maybe even for the rest of the year, because so let me share why. The training team is launching a concept called course cohorts. And a course cohort is basically a group of people who go through a learning journey at the same time. We're kicking this off on the 4th of September, which is next week, Monday. I will be facilitating this course cohort. So that's going to be taking up a lot of my time from the 4th of September until the 9th of October. Then in the last week in October, I have a company meetup that I'm attending. And then when I get back from that, then I want to work on this, which is, let me just find it here. Not that one. No, I'm not going to find it, am I? Let's see if I can find the ones that I created. There we go. I want to work on part 3 of the Developer's Guide to Block Themes, and things that I want to cover in that course are how to lock down blocks, how to add custom blocks, so in other words, these block variations, styling aspects that are better to put in a style sheet instead of through Theme.json. That's kind of what we've covered. How do styles from Theme.json get compiled? So how that works. How to debug block themes. So how to work with, if you remember when we were last week, when we were coding all of this, we had all of these issues happening. So it's kind of all of that that I want to cover. And I want to use all of the lessons that I've learned in the process of developing this block theme to kind of figure all that out. So, this live stream, today's live stream, is more going to be a bit of a summary. I'm going to be summarizing what we've covered so far and how I did things. Some of the notes that I've made. I'm going to be adding it to this ticket, and then I'm going to suggest or make an idea, or whatever the concept would be, that folks who are busy learning block theme development, who want to sort of start experimenting with these things, can join us and help us build out the rest of this design, the rest of the theme, using these courses, using all these lessons. And kind of finish building this block theme sort of in public. So I don't have any plan of action for today, I'll be honest. I still would have liked to have worked out the styling for this horizontal rule. I was thinking I could also see if I could figure out this error, maybe get rid of this error, so that it's saving correctly. I think that would be a good thing to do. The styling of the horizontal rule, I'm going to need some CSS experts to help me figure out which way it should be styled. So I'm kind of going to create tickets for these things, and look for help from the community, because I need to take a break from things, and I would like this to be more of a community learning experience, and we all kind of learn together from it. So. So I think that's what I'm going to do today. I think I'm going to make notes of a lot of these things that I've learned so that they're on this ticket. First, I think I'm going to try and see what's going on here with this. I want to see if I can fix this. So I see that the error is that it has block separator, has alpha channel opacity, has flip direction right, and the content retrieved has that. So I just want to save this and see if that will fix the problem. Let's just zoom out here a little bit. Turn this off. Let me save this. Save that to the footer. And then let me write these changes. So let's generate that. And then let's see what's sitting in that template. It's not a template, it's a template part. So align wide, has alpha channel opacity, is style sending separator, has flip direction. Okay, so that's what's sitting in there. And now let's see what happens if we refresh this. Still getting block validation failures. See, that's generated by the save function. That's what's in the post body. I'm going to go and dig into that and see what that's talking about, because I'm not so sure about that. Okay, it's probably going to be the last one. Maybe not. It's a good question, like how would you find that? It's block validation, core separator. I wonder if this is because I am doing that. So it adds it. Let's see what happens when I take this out here. I wonder if it should only do that if it's a sending separator. That's interesting. That's interesting. Okay, let's see some attributes there. Does kind of make sense. It means it's happening to every single instance of this sending separator. Interesting. I would have thought it only applied to custom ones. separator is obviously on this page a few times, maybe. Yes, no, let's have a look. Probably only in the thing once. And this is where I don't know. Thanks for that comment. I don't think I actually managed to do that. Now that I think about it, let's have a look. I don't think I managed to make that fourth WordCamp. That one was, yeah, that one I didn't make. I didn't make Nairobi or Harare. So, yeah, that didn't work. But yes, WordCamps are very, very worthwhile. If you can attend one, I do recommend it. I am now fortunate to be able to attend WordCamp Europe every year, which I did this year. And I'm busy planning WordCamp Cape Town. So if you can go to a WordCamp, I do highly recommend it. This thing is being called so many times, and I feel like it's because I've done something wrong somewhere. Plugins. So, I used to be a plugin developer many moons ago. And my answer to that point is the same answer that I think Matt has given when he talks about WordPress. And that is, if the reason not to do something is because somebody else has already done it, WordPress would have not existed today. So if you look at the history of WordPress, blogging was not a new thing. Blogging existed. There were other blogging platforms out there. At the time WordPress was started, there was movable type, there was text pattern, there were other options. Matt took a chance with WordPress. As far as I know, Drupal came after WordPress or about the same time as WordPress, and it started when WordPress existed. So the thing about plugins, and I am by no means successful at this, so don't take my advice as solid gold. But what I do know from failure is that make sure you price your plugins correctly. So don't sell plugins at a once-off price. Have a yearly renewal on your plugins so that you can fund regular updates and support and security updates and that kind of thing. The lifetime license model doesn't work, in my opinion. And learn to scale your team as quickly as you can, or as quickly as you feel safe to. If you're just doing it on your own, it gets tough. Go and look at folks like Paid Memberships Pro, look at folks like Pippin's Plugins, those successful businesses that started with 1 or 2 people and grew. Learn from them, don't learn from me. And in terms of where to start, just build plugins for things. The very first plugin that I built and sold was I was running support for. It was basically a service around the Divi theme, and we were called, the service was called Divi Fixer. So you would pay, I don't know, $100 an hour or whatever it was, and somebody would be available to fix problems on your site. And anytime a customer wanted some kind of custom functionality, I would build it as a plugin, and I would let's say it took me 2 hours to build, then I would charge them for the hour, and I would then try and sell it myself. That's how I started. It's not for everybody, but that's how I started. So think about ideas. When you have one of the great success stories I always think of is that I was working as a codable freelancer at the time, and I had a client who was more of a site builder, a developer, or more of a site developer than a plugin developer. Let me rephrase that. But they had some code, some reusable code that they worked on, and they would just these single plugin files, and they did certain custom functionality. And every time they sold a client on a site, and their focus was a specific niche of websites as well. And every time they picked up a new client, they would just plug and play this custom plugin functionality on the site. So when you're building things for clients, if you're building sites for clients, when you find things that you have to custom code in the functions.php of your theme, think about putting those things into a plugin. And then see how many times you reuse that plugin. And if you're reusing that plugin quite a lot, there might be scope for that plugin to get turned into something. That's how Paid Memberships Pro started, as far as I know. That is, as far as I know, how Pippin's Plugin started. Look for areas where you're often doing custom things, and you're doing it again and again, and you're sort of reusing the same code again and again. And I mean, I'll be honest, in the WordPress space, there's a plugin for everything. There is. But sometimes the plugin does more than what you need. Sometimes it doesn't do enough. Sometimes you have to do some customization. I know somebody. So here's a fun story. I don't know if I'm going to find this now. Let me see if I can find Joran. So Joran Chang is a developer who is a. There we go. Joran and I used to be colleagues at Codable, and Joran is now the head of development for a company called Cosmic Giant, and they create add-ons for Gravity Forms. So that's another place to build solutions, is add-ons for existing plugins, add-ons for existing themes. If I was starting out again today, I wouldn't build a new Forms plugin. I would look at what the Forms plugins currently do and where they need add-ons. Or I would look at what the themes do and where they need add-ons. And I would build those things. So those are just some random thoughts. Take it all with a pinch of salt, because I'm not a successful plugin developer by no means. I'm not a business person. I'm not good at business. I'm good at building the plugins, not good at the business. So I struggled with all that part of it. How is that legal? If Gravity Forms is a paid application and you build on top of it? Well, WordPress. So I don't think it's illegal. Essentially, you're building add-ons for an existing plugin. If the plugin developer hasn't built those add-ons, then there's a need for it. If you look at most apps in the app stores, they are functionality that the phones themselves don't come out with. So I don't see how that would be considered illegal to do. You're creating a service on top of something else. It's the same as something like Uber or Uber Eats. You know, the fast food service is already there, but people want to get the food to their door. So you start a business that gets the food to their door. Same kind of thing. The downside to add-on plugins is you do run the risk of the core plugin adding that functionality to its service, and then your plugin becomes irrelevant. But I mean, if you look at, just to give you an example of how not illegal something like this is, if you look at WooCommerce, WooCommerce has the paid hosting service. Obviously, the plugin itself is free and open source. But it has a paid hosting service that people can sign up for, and then it has extensions for WooCommerce. And those extensions are often built by third-party plugin developers who submit to the WooCommerce extension market and sell their products that way. That's a great thing about software, is you can always build on top of something. I mean, how many Mac OS apps exist because Mac OS doesn't have that functionality? How many Windows apps exist because Windows doesn't have that functionality? That's the beauty of software. Now, notice most of these plugins are all by WooCommerce, but you can, if you look at, let's say, payments, for example, most payment processing plugins are developed by other companies. Skyverge is one, Molly is one. Generally, no, especially when it comes to open source. Most decent, in my experience, most decent WordPress plugin shops and theme shops. Let's use Ninja Forms as an example. This is going completely on tangent, but I love this conversation. Ninja Forms, as a good example, has the free plugin. It has the paid add-ons. It also has a... Why is my speed so slow? It also has a developer documentation area where you can build extensions. So they encourage folks to build extensions. So most of the WordPress space folks are very open like that. It's not loading now. Because of this open source mindset. It's one thing if you take someone else's code and you use it, that's one thing. But if you're building extensions that are useful and that either don't exist or could be done better, then if an extension exists and you build your own version of it, then you're kind of, then is that stealing that idea? That's a whole different conversation. But most I don't know very many WordPress plugins that will prevent you from building extensions. I haven't come across any, so I hope that's helpful. I don't know why Ninja Forms isn't loading now, but Ninja Forms is one that I know that is very, very. Gravity Forms I think does it as well. Let me just see if I can find the Gravity Forms. There's a whole developer API that tells you how to extend Gravity Forms. Here it is, developers. How to access and extend default functionality. And then folks use this to go off and build their own things. But then Gravity Forms has its own set of add-ons. And then you have a company like Gravity View that adds specific add-ons that don't exist in this list. So, that is just, I can't speak on how to get that experience. I've had a few like that. I've had a few clients. I specifically looked for custom plugin development because that's sort of my experience level is building custom functionality from scratch, implementing front ends into existing CMSs, building API integrations. That's sort of been most of my experience. So I used to go looking for those kind of projects specifically. And that's maybe more of a business conversation that, as I said earlier, I don't have the relevant experience in, finding those opportunities. There is something to be said for putting yourself out there. Corey Moss, who's a plugin developer that I'm friends with in the US, he was telling me in a podcast episode about this concept that he's learnt about called Lux Surface Area, where, and this goes back to your earlier comment about going to WordCamps, when you network, when you put yourself out there, when you interact with people more, the more you do that, the more you take opportunities, the more you put yourself out there, you increase what he calls your Lux surface area. So your chances of stumbling into something like that are greater. And I can certainly speak to that when I think about my sort of career. I'm very much the kind of person who rushes in where angels fear to tread. And I sometimes take on challenges that are just a little bit above my pay grade, if you will. Like this block theme that I've been working on. I mean, this is very much outside of my scope of experience and knowledge, because block themes as a concept came about after I left active development, really. Or at least, let me put it this way, after I left working on websites. So in 2016, 2017, there or thereabouts, I stopped working for web agencies doing website development, and I focused specifically on one plugin and one web application for a good 3 years. And that was at about the time that block themes came out and became a thing. And so unlike Aruba, who some of you might remember from some of the previous live streams, I'm not building things with block themes every day. I haven't built anything with a block theme. I haven't ever had a client project. I'm going to pour my coffee while I'm talking. So I'm not experiencing the difficulties of trying to achieve certain things with block themes. So that's one of the reasons why I put myself out of my comfort zone and decided to work on this theme project, because then I could learn all these things that I need to learn so that I could then teach folks. So always there's a phrase about learning how to learn, always being open to learning new things, not limiting yourself to your comfort zone, I would say is a good way to stumble into those kind of ideas and those kind of concepts. But again, it's you know, it's not something that I have had great success at. So I definitely am not somebody you should listen to. Have a look at, I mean, Gravity Forms is a great example. Ninja Forms is a good example. Paid Memberships Pro. Easy Digital Downloads. Those are all products that were developed by single developers, solo developers, seeing a need. Seek out those folks and learn from them, because they've been successful at it. Whereas I went a different path. And that was my success, was more in the helping others, teaching others, you know, from my experiences, learning things and then teaching others. And that's where I am now. So yeah, I'm definitely not a business plug-in business expert by any means. Okay, well that took up a good chunk of time, which actually worked really well. So thank you for all that input. Okay, let's go back to what I was doing here. I'm not sure why this is happening, I'm going to be honest. So I am going to put a pin on this, and I'm going to log some issues. And I'm going to say, let me just put this back and see what happens here. Okay, we're definitely getting block variation errors. Which I'm not quite understanding, because the block in the template is that. I wonder if that should be right. What is it currently on? It's currently on blue, which is right. Left, blue, which is left. Left is blue. Okay. Default is right. Okay, I'm going to do a thing. I want to see if this is a problem in my code, or if this is something else. So what I've just done is I've just built all the assets for this change. And let me just actually, yeah, that's fine. Okay, and then I'm going to export this as a theme and install it on another. Okay, so let's just see here. So parts, footer. So the flip direction currently is left. It should be right. Should be right. Left is pressed. Should be right. No, it should be. Yeah. Left is pressed should be false. Do I even need that anymore? Oh yes. Oh, we had left. Okay, so this is so direction is right, left should be false, right should be true. Okay. False, right is true. It's currently right, which is what it should be. Right, left is false, right is true. That generates that. I'm still not sure if that's right. We'll see. Okay, so let's run that. And I want to see what happens when I install this on another WordPress site. So I'm going to export it. Now I'm wondering why this is taking so long. I wonder if this is because, oh, this is probably because I've got node modules and things, which I don't need. So let's, okay, let's commit this. I'm trying to say testing. Push the trunk. And then I'm going to use WPCLI on the command line to export this as a theme. I just want to make sure I've got, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so then WP dist archive Sendig. Okay, that'll create a zippable archive of the theme. And now I want to install this on a clean site. I want to see if I still have that problem, because if I do, then there's definitely something wrong with my code and I'm going to have to log issues for it. Okay, so we don't have Sendig installed. Let's open up console. Let's add the theme. And it's going to be in my WordPress site, content folder. There it is. Let's install that. Let's activate it. Okay. Let's go into the editor. Okay, I'm definitely getting block validation errors. So I feel like this is happening because what's stored in the, just attempted block recovery. There, okay. Let's have a look at what this code is now that it's happy. Oh, it's in the footer, of course. So I need to be in the footer template. So let's go into the patterns, into the footer pattern. Yeah, that's going to give an error. Okay, that's fine. So now let us see here. It's just the style setting separator, and then this has right there. I feel like that's wrong. So I feel like I'm definitely doing something wrong somewhere in the code. Okay. So I'm going to log that. So let's go back to here and let's get the most recent one. Right, start right. Okay, I'm going to copy this out. And I'm going to log this. And then I'm going to reach out to somebody that I know who works at 10up, which is the code that we're using. I'm going to ask him what I'm doing wrong. How to correctly apply the class name to a block extended by using which block extension. Currently, the following error shows. Let's refresh that so we get the. Still trying to figure out which one of these is why there's so many, but I'm going to take the last one. Okay. I'm going to figure that out offline somewhere. So that's that. Then I also need to figure out the where was it? Figure out these. I'm going to log an issue for that. Say calculate the correct values for the Sendig operator. Current CSS. I'm just going to pop that in there. Okay. So that's that. That's what I'm going to leave there for now. I do still want to come back and understand how this works. And so for some context, one of my colleagues, Nick Diego, is running a hallway hangout, or ran a hallway hangout. Is running on Thursday, the 14th September at quite late my time. A hallway hangout on block variations. So I'm going to RSVP for that event and then catch the recording. Because that is something that I feel like I need some more knowledge there. The whole block variations thing is not something that I've spent a lot of time on. I also want to spend some time reading through this document and playing with things and fiddling with things to understand how this all works. So that'll be the next thing that I look into to figure that out. What I would like to be able to do is rewrite this code using core WordPress functionality. While I do love and appreciate the fact that register block extension makes this possible, I want to try and create this block variation using core features. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. I'm also there's going to be a follow-up blog post about it. I'm going to keep an eye on that. So here is the draft article, which I'm going to keep an eye on. And then once this gets published, I will read through that. Only concern that I have is this is probably going to be based on doing it in a plugin, not a theme. But I want to keep an eye on that and see what happens there. So that's what I'm going to do there for this, and I'll come back to this. And I think that's where I'm going to wrap up today. It has been. I want to take a few minutes and say thank you to Emily one more time for her designs. If you have never seen the designs, they're here in this Figma file. I should probably, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to check if I have the Figma linked. It's here, so I'm going to update this for the Figma link. So let's close all of this down. And let's go and update the README to include, no, not that one, that one. You can find the Figma, Figma design here, and I think this is the correct URL. I think it's just actually, I can take this out. That, yeah, so I can take those queries out and it'll take you to the file. So there is the Figma URL if you want to see this design. I'm going to add a Ruber's name here. I hope I'm spelling her name correctly there. Let's actually go and double check that. So let's go and find Ruber. Yes, there it is. So I'm going to pop a Ruber's name in there. And I want Emily's as well. Eat, paint, chic. I love Emily's profile name. So Emily is the designer. Okay, and then what I'm also going to do is I'm going to, they're all there. Okay, perfect. I'm going to update those. All right. So if you want to see where this is all, where this all sits, where this all exists, it's all on my GitHub repository, my GitHub profile. So my name is Jonathan Bossinger, and it is the very first pinned repository under my profile name. There it is over there. If you wanna work on this thing, please fork it, put it apart, see what we did, catch up on some of the previous streams. In fact, maybe I should add the previous streams in here as well. What I would love to do, maybe I should do that, is actually create a playlist. So let's go to videos, and let's go to all the devs live streams, React app. Where did we start? Sending, here we go. Did we start on, just see what this is. Turn the volume off. No, that wasn't sending, streaming. So it looks like we started here, the 9th of May. So it's been May, June, July, August, September, 5 months. So let's add this all to a playlist. Let's call it Sendig Live Development. I'll make it public. And then let's add all of these to that playlist. Oh, there's a theme development as well. Oh. Okay, looks like I already had done that. So theme development is the one. Let's make sure the rest are added. Okay, I haven't been adding them all. Theme development. Okay, so we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There should be 10 streams. So let's go to playlists and let's go to theme development. And let's just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I missed one. Okay, let's try that again. So let's start here. Okay. Theme development. Theme development. So this is roughly 10 hours of work. Live, oh, there I went wrong there. Theme development. Theme development. Theme development. No, not watch later. Playlist. Theme development. theme development. Okay, that's done. So now if we go to the playlist, now we can probably share the playlist. How does one share a playlist? No. I can probably copy this link. Okay, so let's add this to the README. You can view the live stream playlist here. Okay, pump that in there. So if anybody wants to review those old streams, you can do that. And access it all through there. So let's commit that. Okay, so now it's all sitting in the repository. There's the Figma file, there's the live streams, everything's there. So feel free to pull this apart, have a look at it, go over the live streams, learn about block variations, which I'm going to do next. And then I'm going to try and use those block variations to wrap up that part that I was working on. I'm also going to try and see if I can get somebody to help me with the CSS for turning this thing the right way around, which I haven't been able to figure out yet. I'm also going to see if I can get somebody to help me with those block errors. But I'm not going to be doing those in live streams anymore. I'll be doing that offline when I get a chance. And I don't know when I'll return to doing live streams. I'll be focusing, as I say, on the course cohort and other coursework for the rest of the year. Maybe I'll be picking up some live streams again in the new year. Maybe I'll do some impromptu live streams about other things if I get a chance. So yes, that is that. My phone is busy beeping at me, which is probably my wife sending me messages, so I'm going to call this a day. Thank you folks for joining me. I hope there was something useful here for you today, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your Tuesday. Bye-bye.